Greetings. Welcome to Theology Thursdays here at Trinity Parish Church. We begin a new book. We're going to be shifting our theological focus just a bit to cover a range of topics in one single book. This is going to be a little bit of a more ambitious look at some really important topics based upon feedback that we got from our survey. There are a myriad of ways that we can describe what Christians believe about resurrection. However, the interesting thing is that not all resurrection theology really is based within what the New Testament church thought about resurrection. And that's a factor of the ongoing interpretive practices that we have that fundamentally have to do with our perspectives of where we are historically. But there are some times where we have to take a step back from our interpretive lenses and ask ourselves, what exactly did the early church think about the resurrection? And what exactly did the early apostles really think was going on in Jesus' resurrection? Part of the reason why this is important is because what Christians believe about the resurrection is directly impacting what they believe the afterlife is like. And rather than there just being a general, there is life after death, there is a specific belief about what kind of life there is after death. And so in this upcoming semester, we are going to embark on, like I mentioned, a fairly ambitious study. And we are going to be using one of the preeminent Anglican scholars within the world, N.T. Wright. N.T. Wright is a bishop of the Anglican Church and a lifelong biblical scholar, specifically New Testament scholar and theologian. And N.T. Wright, in his seminal book that we are going to be examining this upcoming time, is going to examine and re-examine what exactly have Christians thought about the resurrection, life after death, the destiny of all humanity, and how that informs the mission of the church right now. We will be using N.T. Wright's book, Surprised by Hope, in which we are going to be dealing with some pretty heavy topics. However, this book has been foundational in my own life in a lot of ways. A foundational shift in the way that we understand what the afterlife means for Christians, what kind of afterlife Christians believe exists, and why that deeply informs the way that we live right now in the world. And you might, again, be surprised by the things that we assume might be Christian, but actually are really not at their very basis. So we warmly invite you to join us this upcoming semester in reading N.T. Wright's book, Surprised by Hope. This week, we are simply introducing the book, and the link for ordering this book can be found in the video description below. Please do consider picking up this book and reading along with us as we go along. We'll be covering chapter by chapter every single week, and we'll be covering those topics by their division heads inside the chapters, and we'll be giving a little bit of commentary as to what N.T. Wright is getting at, and in a lot of ways, we'll be talking very specifically about why this is really important for us to get straight what we think actually happens in the afterlife for us as Christians. There's a whole lot of things that will be covered in this course, and I want to give you a couple of primer words that are going to be coming up throughout the course of this topic. First of all, eschatology. Eschatology is the theology of the end times, the final destiny of humanity. What happens at the end of all things? Eschatology is, what is the ultimate destiny of humanity? What does that look like? What is the shape of it? And why is that important in how it informs what we believe and also in how we practice? That word is a broad word that contains a lot of various things within it, but no less important than the resurrection of the body, which is what is primarily dealt with in N.T. Wright's theology in the biblical realm of what Christians believe in life after death. But there are also a couple of other things that are dealt with as well. One of them is the relationship between heaven and earth. Are heaven and earth these separate realities, one of which we inhabit in the mortal life and one of which we go to in the afterlife? That is one popular conception. We'll examine that a little bit more closely. But also, eschatology, what happens at the end, deals a lot with what we believe about soteriology. Soteriology is the theology of salvation. What does it mean to be saved? What are we saved from? For what purpose are we saved? And what does that mean for our life right now? Soteriology is what a lot of this book will be caught up in. And it will be hinging on what does the resurrection of Jesus Christ mean for those who call themselves Christians? And as N.T. Wright will tell you, it means everything for what we believe as Christians. How does that inform the way that we practice our Christianity, in how we believe the resurrection, but also in how we are sent in mission because of the resurrection? So, eschatology, theology of end times; soteriology, theology of salvation. But we obviously will be dealing with Christology a lot. What exactly do we believe about Jesus? And the Christology is the centerpiece of the foundational aspects of both soteriology and eschatology. What we believe about Jesus informs how we think salvation happens and what we think happens after the end of time. So those three topics, soteriology, eschatology, and Christology, are going to be primarily what we deal with in N.T. Wright's book. Please do pick yourself up a copy and read with us as we go throughout this wonderful study of Christian belief about the resurrection and about what it means for our beliefs about the afterlife.